This is an image that kind of sums up LA. Imagine if that's just a truck full of weed. It's obviously not, but I've realized that LA needs legal weed just to get through the insanity. LA is insane. It makes you insane. I highly recommend not only should you not live there, you shouldn't even visit. It's horrendous. You sit in this traffic all day, and a listener sent me this mouse utopia thing that happened, and they pretty much tried to recreate what a situation like LA is, and the mice became homosexual cannibals. Totally makes sense. The people in Los Angeles have become homosexual cannibals. It makes you legitimately insane to be around that many people, especially when there's no common culture. This whole multiculturalism thing is a disaster. And it's obviously not about race. It's about culture. It's people that want nothing to do with each other. And there's some pretty evil people that have done a shell game, a real quick sleight of hand to make it about race so that the conversation is never addressed. That it's not about the darkness of skin or the lightness of skin that separates people. It's people's fundamental values separate people. And so if everyone's always arguing and paranoid about who is and who is not racist, no one actually comes to the conclusion that no one knows their neighbors anymore in cities like this. You know, it's awful. It's really just madness. And I mean, a 2-bedroom condo there costs over $1 million to own. So I don't know what the hell is going to happen there. All right, what do we got here? Roseanne, Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby. And you can see Roseanne's original joke. The woman looks exactly like the Planet of the Apes lady. And then the Sarah Jeong, who I've grown to just completely hate. I can't stand this lady. Are white people genetically predisposed to burn faster in the sun, thus logically being only fit to live underground like groveling goblins? Dumbass fucking white people marking up the internet with their opinions like dogs pissing on fire hydrants. Those are not even the worst ones. She's a straight cold racist. And one of the things I hate that Ben Shapiro did today that I normally like, I usually things I hate is my favorite part of his whole thing. He was talking about how Terrence Williams, or some super black human being, was calling her like a slope or a slant or like fortune cookie joke or some shit. And he was like, talking about how you shouldn't meet racism with racism and all that. I disagree completely. I do that all the time. It shows the hypocrisy because sometimes there's no other way to show it than to be the sacrificial lamb in a situation. Like, just do exactly what the left does, which is what Candace Owens did. That's something weird that Shapiro praised Candace Owens' move, but then attacked Terrence Williams for saying something about a fortune cookie thing. Very bizarre. Because Candace Owens took all the tweets that... Oh, and before you guys say, like, why are you obsessing over Ben Shapiro? He's one of the only places I get news. I get news from like 3 outlets. So I listen to every one of his podcasts every day. So when I'm commenting on news, I also sometimes will comment on him. Just like I'll comment on Rogan or Crowder sometimes. Crowder, I try not to comment on too often, though, because I'm so privy to so much Crowder information that I just don't want to discuss anything. Unlike Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro, I only know what I like, what everyone sees. So that's why I feel a lot more comfortable talking about that. And I think that whole push-pull and like talking about what you think in the news is very important. I love when Scott Adams does it about Trump tweets and stuff. It helps me contextualize other people's ideas in this age of the internet. But anyway, so Candace Owens substituted all of Sarah Jeong's racist bullshit, except just put in black people instead of white people. And Candace Owens, a black woman, was kicked off Twitter for a day. That's what I'm talking about. I don't get why Ben Shapiro wouldn't be like, wow, you shouldn't do that. I mean, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Because it's exactly the same thing. And I do that all the time. Where it's like, I'll show you how unacceptable it is for someone like me to say something that's a woman of color says something. By the way, Asians are not a minority. In case anyone's ever Googled Earth or any information, the majority of the world is Asian, and the majority of the money is Asian. Asians make per capita more than whites in America. They were never enslaved, and there's like billions of them. So by rules of progressivism, whites should be able to just be like, you have no dick. Your dick doesn't go past your pubes. Your eyes look weird. It's pretty funny stuff. And I was on an Asian sitcom for 3 years. So let me just tell you, a lot of Koreans are some of the most racist human beings on the planet. In fact, this one Asian female comedian, I don't even remember her name. It wasn't Ali Wong, but it was one of those types. She was doing a bit on stage about how her mom would never let her bring home a white guy, and how her mom was always like, you don't ever touch white people. They are so bad. And everyone's dying laughing. And so I went on stage after and just did the thing I usually do, which is like, imagine if I said that. You know, imagine if I was like, my mom would never let any of these little yellow, goblins. I don't know what I can't even think of something horrible to call Asians, because they're just, it's so funny, man. When you're not a racist, sometimes it's hard to pull up shit to even like do sarcastically. And the crowd was laughing. I made a video out of it. Oh, Helen Hung is her name. And I still considered myself friendly with her at the time. And she was like, can you please not put that on the internet? And I'm like, why? It's hilarious. Just to show how ridiculous it is. This is a few years ago. I'm like, I made a whole back-to-back video of her saying the most racist shit you've ever heard against white people. And me just being like, what? And it was funny, and it made such a good point about how Asian women can just be like, my mother is like, Helen, you do not touch the white people. They are diseased. And I didn't put it up because I was just trying to be respectful to someone that I thought was my friend. None of them are your friend. Like, none of these leftists are your friends. They'll burn you in a lake of gasoline for one iota more of power and influence, because they're demons, man. They're straight cold demons. I never realized just how demonic they were. Like, people that I've helped so much in my life, comedians, I've had open for me. I've like really just helped. And then you see that they will just sell you out as soon as the white male is considered the new target. And it's like, well, where were all the people in your little tribe? Because I know I was helping. I was helping you put together a reel. I was helping you get stage time. I was helping you be seen by the world. I'm not even going to say who these people are, but like, where was your little tribe? Because my white male ass was trying to help you because you're so talented. And I see talent over tribe. And there would be people I would take on the road with me that I thought were funny and could use a little help. And they would just bomb. And then they would blame me. They would just get so angry. And the friendships would never last. Because a lot of times the worst people, and there's people out there right now trolling me so hard and making these hit pieces that are just laughably stupid and saying just straight cold slander about me. Just horrible things. Ever since that PragerU video has just gone crazy viral. It's already at 1.5 million views, which is insane for a 5-minute educational video. A lot of these people were once trying to be my friend or trying to be a comedian, and their failure was so hard for them to understand or to comprehend. And they didn't have the right skill set to deal with failure and to make failure and resistance into strength, which I'm blessed to have parents that taught me those things, that they became enraged at me and that I was a constant reminder of their own failure. And so out of that comes a type of dark satanic rage that's tough to really understand. So yeah, I mean, Roseanne should never have been fired. And this Asian, just vile human being should never have been hired, because what it does is, I'm enjoying The Handmaid's Tale, guys. I swear to God I am. Because I don't think it's about conservatism or Christianity. It's clearly about Islam or, a communist state. It's a world based on lies and the ownership of women. That's they cover their face, they cut off their clits. Sounds pretty familiar. They were caliphated to pretend. And so one of the scenes, the flashbacks in this series are really good, because one of them, you have these two girls that later become maidens, and they're trying to just order coffee, and the coffee guy is like, calls them sluts, pretty much for like no reason. He's like, "You sluts need to relax," and they're like, "What?" And you can just see the language shifting, and they did a good job showing that. And as much as the media is trying to make it seem like it's white males doing this, we all know it isn't. We all know you can call white people goblins and demons and monsters, and we're all racist just for our existence, and we're all guilty of slave ownership, and we all have collective racial guilt, and men have patriarchy, and men. These things are all, you do not hear that in the media the other direction. You do not hear people calling women sluts and whores and no one getting upset about it, or, black people being burdens, or Asians being burdens, or scum. You don't see that. You don't see that at all. You see it only towards whites, especially males. And then you realize it's political, because I was with Larry Elder this weekend, and people like that who are black, both racially and culturally, and they're not seen as, they're seen in the same way as the white male conservative is, because you realize it's not about maleness or race. It's a trick used for socialism to spread, because it's such a horrible idea, and it's never worked, and it's so destructive and so vicious and so contradictory to Western values that you need to trick people into supporting it. You need to get them into $1.5 trillion of unbankruptable student debt. You have to demonize the biggest earners in your country, which are white males. They produce 80% of the tax base. You make sure that everyone hates those people, and you demonize them so that they will not be upset when you steal their money.